Hello and welcome to episode 7 of the Web and Git course. Today we'll look at Bootstrap and how Bootstrap is helping us to make our website look better. Different from other tools we have in this series, Bootstrap is actually installed already by me in the template. However, we will still have a look to see how Bootstrap is actually installed, or rather included in your project. So we can scroll down at its official website, guessbootstrap.com, link is in the description, and we are using this method, include via CDN, while install via npm is actually viable. But this is just the method I'm used to. And it says you need to include these two lines of code in the project. So when you actually look at our project, numbers are fun, click on the app folder and then templates, and then this time we'll look at the layouts and then default.pug. You can see we have this line of code here. So when this line is translated to HTML, it looks exactly like this. So we actually included it already, and just to be clear, we are actually adding Bootstrap version 5.2.0 instead, as you can see right here. Alright, and after looking at this line, we can scroll down at default.pug into the bottom of the page, and you can see there's another line that looks very similar to the one we have in the official website, and that is because this is exactly how it looks like when this script tag is translated into HTML. So again, we're installing Bootstrap 5.2.0, and note that these two lines of code are in default.pug, and every page we have extends the default.pug file. So as a result, these two lines of code are included in every file, and hence Bootstrap is included in every page of your website. And to make it more clear, for CSS files, that is the default CSS files, and also the custom styles we have defined, we are putting it in the head section of the HTML, and while for the JavaScripts, we are putting it at the body, and what's important is at the end of the body. All the scripts are put at the bottom of the page because they work best when they are loaded at last, after everything like your styles and your contents of the page are loaded, because scripts are there to provide interactions, and there are no interactions when there are no objects to interact with. The lower down the scripts are, the higher priority it has. So we'll put our Bootstrap script in here, and also jQuery, which is not related to Bootstrap but useful when you're making interactions in your web page. And at the end, what has the highest priority? It is the template specific JavaScript, which we'll talk more about this syntax later. Alright, so what we've done is we verified that Bootstrap is installed for us already. And what's more important is to know what Bootstrap has to offer. So you could hover over to, let's say the numbers are beautiful, text, and then right click, inspect. And you can see the style we have set for the h3 tag last time. However, other than that, you could also see some default styles available. What are they? To understand that, we could hover over to the right hand side. This states the source of the style. So look at our self-defined styles. It comes from style.css. As we have said earlier, our less file is translated into CSS and is put into this site.css file. So this is indeed the styles we wrote back in episode 5. So how about these two? You could just hover over on the right hand side and stay there. It shows the link of the style sheet. So it actually comes from Bootstrap. You can see Bootstrap at 5.2.0. So, and the same applies for this. This is also something given by Bootstrap. So one of the things that Bootstrap does already is provide you with some default styles. So it looks better than a page without Bootstrap already without doing anything. However, what's more important than Bootstrap is that it provides a lot of components. We can actually look at the documentation of Bootstrap, and you can scroll on the left hand side for a list of things it provides. For example, it provides a beautiful badge like these, and it can be colored as well, and it provides drop down, and it also provides a nav bar and also a progress bar, etc. We will learn how to add some of these components to our web page in the next few episodes. However, what I want you to do is, after looking at those examples, you will be able to learn how to add any of these components to your web page by looking at the documentations right here. However, the main thing I want to teach today about Bootstrap is you have to scroll up a little bit to this. In the layout section, there's a grid system. You can click on that, and grid system is what I want to teach mainly today. However, I'm not gonna repeat what the documentation says and just demonstrate with an example. So you can see this is our finished sample web page. When the screen is large, the book cover picture only occupies a small space on the right. However, when you try to narrow the page, and it is now occupying half of the screen, and when it is even smaller, the picture is below the text rather than on the right hand side of the text. So this is what grid system does. It separates the screen into 12 different columns, and it allows you to control how many columns a certain component should take at a certain screen size. As you can see, there are a lot of different screen sizes, starting from XS for mobile devices into XXL for very large screens. So now let's investigate how to reproduce this behavior of the book of numbers picture. So to do so, we have to enclose everything we want to be in the grid system within a div tag with class row. So look at the sample website. The things that should be involved in the grid system are things starting from the book name all the way to the picture. So it should be this section of the code in the about.pug. So we highlight all of them and click tab to indent everything to the right. So we enclose everything with .row. This is how we achieve the same thing in Pug, and everything given in the Bootstrap documentation is written by HTML. And after that, note that contents from the book name to the topics chosen on the left side, while the picture is on the right hand side. So this code further splits into two sections. The first 5 lines should be the left column, and the last 2 lines should be the right column, and we have to make correct indentations. Note that they have to be indented correctly, like this. However, this is not enough. We have to specify how much of the whole screen we want these components to occupy. So look back at the documentation. So we want the behavior that when the screen is small, we let both the text and the picture occupy the whole screen. That is, all 12 columns. So we're gonna have the class prefix followed by the number of columns occupied. So for XS screens, it's going to be .col-12. So we're gonna do this first. And then for small screens, I guess they are quite small as well, so they should occupy all 12 columns as well. I will teach you how to visualize the size of the screen later in this video, but first let's just follow suit and say col-sm-12. This corresponds to the class prefix col-sm-. So we're gonna do the same for the bottom section. And then for medium screen, I believe it is large enough to do the half-half split like this. So we're gonna do col md. We're gonna do 6 this time because it's going to occupy 6 out of 12 of the screen, which is half of the screen, which is what we wanted. So same copy down below. And for large screens, to prevent the book of numbers picture to be very, very large, we're gonna keep it to the right. So I think in this sample website, what I did is to allocate a quarter of the screen for the picture and the rest for the text. So let's do the same in our code. So we're gonna do col-lg stands for large screens. We're gonna do 9 columns for the text and 3 columns for the picture. So down below, we're gonna say col-lg and then 3. And then the same for X large screens and XX large screens. So we're gonna do col-xl 9 and also col-xxl 9. And down below we're gonna do col-xl 3 and col-xxl 3. So as you can see, it looks fairly similar to the sample website. So one quick tip to check which screen size we are in right now is to click Inspect and then click on the div with the column classes. So right now, col MD6 is active, which means this is a MD screen. This is a middle-sized screen. So when we scroll more narrower, we're gonna switch to col SM12, which means this is a small screen. And even smaller and call 12, which means this is an XSmall screen. So I repeat, this is XS, and you can see it got changed to SM, and this is MD, and this is a half-half split as we stated in the code. And then further, this is an LG screen, and you can see it occupies a quarter of the screen. This is called LG3. And you realize that the numbers book is quite big. We're gonna fix that in a moment. And further out, nope, that's the max width of our computer, because this is a pretty small screen, I have to admit. But I think we can simulate an Excel screen by zooming out. So we could try this. So as you can see, it is now an XL screen as stated in the styles section. And further out, it is now an XXL screen. So as we stated before, whenever it is a large screen, X large screen, and an XX large screen, the text is going to occupy 3/4, and while the book of numbers is going to occupy 1/4, which is what we can see right now. So after we have confirmed our column system works, so we're going to fix the problem of the book of numbers picture going across the right border of the screen. So this can be fixed by a line of CSS code. So we could open our styles and then abouts.less and put it on the right hand side, and we could actually code for the image. So we could add a class, let's say book image, and then add the related style right here. The line of style I want you to add is with colon 100%. So you can see it's working as intended. However, I would like to show you another way of doing that, which should be more convenient in some sense. So remove the book image class, and we add a specific class, which is w-100. And we could remove what we have for the book image in abouts.less as well. And you can see it does the same thing. Why? Because w-100 gives the same line of CSS. So this is actually again something given by Bootstrap. So you can see when we hover over the right hand side, it is given by Bootstrap at 5.2.0 again. So this is also something provided by Bootstrap, is a lot of default style classes, so that you do not have to clumsily add the styles, as just like what I did in the first method, as long as you remember the name of the class that gives those specific styles. So w100 is one, and I'll show you more as we go on in the series. So finally, we would like to push our code to GitHub. So what we did today in the code is to implement the Bootstrap grid system in the About page. And finally, git push. Thank you very much for watching, and in the next episode or two, I will introduce you with some Bootstrap components that we can use on our web page.